Welcome back to more Animal Crossing New Horizons. Last time we went over the seasonal events and items of June, so this time we're going to go over the new items for July. So we have a decoration on the door of my house and a few hats sitting over there, so let's see what they are. So if we go over here, the rodeo-style springy ride-on returns from last year, and also earlier in July, the bamboo tree for Tanabata could also be obtained if you missed it from the previous year. But the new items are the Phrygian cap for Le 14 Juillet, and the ship wheel door decoration for Marine Day. The city of Paris celebrates this holiday with a large military parade, followed by a spectacular fireworks show at night. This cap is a symbol of freedom in the style of those worn during the French Revolution. This Japanese holiday celebrates the many blessings that the sea provides. It is a day to acknowledge the role of the ocean in cultural exchange, trade, and prosperity for a country surrounded on all sides by water. And that's basically everything that was added for July. There are returning events, like there was a fishing tourney, I'm pretty sure, earlier this month. I actually missed it. But yeah, this is a pretty slow month, actually. So now that we've gone over those, for the Phrygian caps, there are a ton of variations of them. These are all 5 of the different colors. They rotate out every day as usual for items like this. For the decoration, there's only 1. But yeah, that's basically it for the July items. So these were all added in the previous update. I think the last update was in May, and basically added all the seasonal items up through August, actually, because there are a few items that were from last year that'll rotate back in towards August. So yeah, in general, this is not the best month I've seen in Animal Crossing, because there wasn't even an event that was reintroduced, like with the wedding season or like Bunny Day as an example. I think there will be an update soon though, because next month is the Fireworks Festival, and I'm assuming they're going to have to add that back in with new seasonal items probably, so we'll probably be getting an update fairly soon. But despite that, I think I'm almost ready to end this playthrough. As this playthrough has gone on, and the amount of content being added in each update has kind of gotten smaller and smaller, I feel like there's a lot less to talk about. Even trying to consolidate all of the items into one video, basically checking in when all of the new seasonal items are available, it's still not much to talk about. And in general, I feel like unless there's a big event or a big content drop in the future, I think I'm about ready to end this playthrough. So I have enjoyed playing Animal Crossing New Horizons for over a year, going over all of the different events and items and all the updates as they drop. But yeah, each update nowadays has been fairly insubstantial, and there just isn't as much to talk about. Basically, it amounts to logging in, showing the seasonal items, and that's about it. So much has been rumored and data mined for so long that if any of that stuff actually gets added in, I will definitely be returning to this game and showing that off as well. But even as is, this is the longest playthrough on my channel now by video count. 121 videos. So I definitely played quite a bit of this. Even now, I play this game daily, a little bit every day, not a lot, like maybe half an hour a day, just to check in, get items, check the stores, try to get gold from the rocks, things like that. And try to work towards long-term goals, like Nook Miles still. But I'm not playing nearly as regularly as I used to, and when I do play, I tend to play in much smaller increments. I feel like this game was in a very difficult position when it launched because, one, it was trying to be a live service game or a game as a service, which is basically when a game releases, you buy it, and then they gradually add in free content over time. Sort of like, Splatoon is another good example. So they tried to take that Splatoon model, which worked in that case, and then apply it to this game, which didn't work as well for a variety of reasons, partly because of the overall state of the world causing development problems. At least I assume that might be a problem, or it might be a factor to why things ended up the way they did. I feel like if this game had been delayed, it would have actually helped quite a bit, because then more of the content that was added over that first summer would have been in the game initially, and then other things could have been added through the live service updates. So in general, I do feel like a delay would have helped, but oddly enough, it probably would not have been as popular, and simultaneously would have been better liked. It's kind of weird to think about. This game released at the perfect time, when a lot of things were basically going into lockdown. So a lot of people just stayed home and played a ton of Animal Crossing. So the game sold incredibly well, but it had the problem of a lack of content, and also, people played this game a lot. I definitely played this game a lot more than I normally would have, like in New Leaf. I was still in college, or I think I was starting college that fall, so I did not have as much time to play Animal Crossing, so I basically, for New Horizons, just played a ton of it, and yeah, I definitely see why people got burnt out really quickly from simultaneously playing more than was expected, and also there not being as much content as expected. In the following months, I feel like the amount of content being added gradually got smaller and smaller, so now we're basically just getting returning holidays and seasonal items, and that's about it. And yeah, it just kind of results in not having a lot to talk about. I feel like in general, I talk about this subject quite a bit in these videos, because otherwise the videos would be incredibly short, because there just isn't much to show off beyond the seasonal items. Like, this time my town layout really hasn't changed, I haven't really altered anything. I'm pretty sure someone moved out, but because it's been a month, I actually forget who all moved in and out in that time. In general, the villagers are a lot less memorable, because it feels like their dialogue is a lot more simple. Like, a lot of times you'll talk to a villager and they'll basically tell you, something very brief, like, "Hi, I forgot what I was going to say," and then that's the end of the conversation. So yeah, they're a lot less memorable. In general, I feel like in some ways having villagers not move out on their own without asking you first is good, because it means your favorite can't move out, but it's also bad because it kind of feels like they're less autonomous as a result. So a lot of the different features in New Horizons are very interesting to me, because they're kind of at odds with each other and Animal Crossing as a whole. The ability to basically change your town layout on the fly is really cool, but also takes away from getting a randomly assigned town at the beginning, if you can just kind of terraform everything to your liking anyway, eventually. And yeah, the overall structure of it kind of feels like the villagers are more like, or less like social, and the social component more relies on the online than just offline in your village, which as a predominantly offline player, it kind of doesn't feel as engaging. But yeah, I still play this every day. It's kind of a nice little wind-down game. But yeah, it definitely lacks something from the previous games. A little bit of the heart of the series is lacking because of being more focused on the town and yeah, building it to your liking. It was starting to be a problem in New Leaf, even as someone who says New Leaf is my favorite game in the series. That's kind of where this trend towards optimizing your town kind of started. So yeah, and then Happy Home Designer also has several elements that feel more in common, like more repetitious villager dialogue as an example, and being more about the creation aspect than the social aspect. But even then, this game doesn't go as far as Happy Home Designer in terms of like decorating other people's houses, so I would have liked to have had the ability to like to use the interior decoration from Happy Home Designer for the villagers, because then you could actually like customize the outsides of their houses and interiors, which would have been a lot of fun, and would have helped with the whole aspect of basically customizing everything about your town. So yeah, in general, it kind of feels like a merging of like Happy Home Designer's creation style of gameplay with the traditional social style of Animal Crossing, and it's not entirely successful. I think it is better to have the social aspects more predominant than the creation aspects, because like once you design your town to your liking, like I basically have, then there's not a whole lot to see other than like starting over. Like I've basically rearranged parts of my town a ton of times because that's kind of the focus of this game, and it used to be more on the villagers. So yeah, as its own thing, I actually don't think it's a bad attempt, even though there are definitely shortcomings, and it's not as good of like a town building game as it could have been. Again, like not being able to customize the various villagers' houses, as an example. But overall, I feel like this is still a good game. It's just kind of lacking as an Animal Crossing game compared to previous games, both because of the initial available content at launch, and also the amount that has been added since, and also just a change in direction. I don't mind the change in direction too much, and I actually do like New Horizons better than the older games in some regards, like the increased item inventory, being able to pick where villagers move in, things like that are actually really cool. But it kind of comes at the cost of more personality in the world, with more like random elements and things like that. So yeah, overall, I feel like this is probably one of my least favorite Animal Crossing games in terms of the main series. I was thinking about this. I didn't actually do a review for this game because I was waiting for the content to finish up before reviewing it, which might be sooner than I originally thought. But my listings for the series in terms of like a ranking would probably be New Leaf first, the GameCube game second, partly nostalgia, I'll admit, even though I think Wild World and also even City Folk might be slightly better games, but I find them less charming. And yeah, after like the GameCube one, probably Wild World and City Folk kind of tied because they're kind of the same game in a lot of ways. And then I guess New Leaf would be towards the bottom. But yeah, I still don't think it's like a bad game. I just think it's an underwhelming follow-up to New Leaf because of how good it was. But again, going back to New Leaf, it almost feels like this is the logical direction, for better or worse. I occasionally play New Leaf a little bit now, and I kind of feel the same way about it as New Horizons, but the difference is, I played New Leaf basically every day a bunch for like 2 or 3 years. While with New Horizons, I kind of reached the same level of burnout within like 1 year. So there is definitely a lot less content and a lot less to do in this game. Even though I feel like it's inevitable for Animal Crossing that you're going to hit a wall where you just need to take a break because you've basically exhausted all the possibilities of things to do. But yeah, with this game, the difference is it just happened a lot sooner than most Animal Crossing games, even though, yeah, I know I played this game a bunch at launch, and a lot of people played it a lot, so a lot of people got a lot of time out of this game, even though eventually they did bounce off this game faster than anticipated. So yeah, I feel like it's still generally worth trying. As a first Animal Crossing, I feel like this would almost be better than for people who have played all of the games and kind of know the original identity of the series, being more of a social sim than like a town builder. But yeah, I also would probably still say if you have a 3DS, New Leaf is still the best one to start with. But yeah, this game isn't necessarily a bad starting point. And yeah, it might be fun to go back to some of the older ones just to see how different they are, even though there are fewer features and some things that were added are very convenient. The older games still have a very specific charm to them that is kind of missing in this. Yeah, and I have plenty of theories about why this game turned out the way it did. I'm not sure if we'll ever get some of the things that were data mined early on, just because of everything that happened at the time this game released, and probably messed up the development quite a bit. I would love to see things like the cafe added in and an extra store. I was thinking about this too, and because of the town builder aspect, I feel like there's almost a problem with adding in a new facility, because where would you put it if your town is already really established? And I think a good solution to that would be similar to City Folk, where the shopping center is a separate place. That would be the solution to this. Basically have like a little island that's like a shopping district, basically, like a more like a less like rustic town, but like a little mini square on an island that has like Gracie's store and like various other places from previous Animal Crossing games. Like I think that would be a good way to introduce new buildings without trying to actually have a problem of trying to figure out where everything needs to go by adding in new content. Again, there were rumors that the cafe would be in the museum if it ever got added in, which makes sense based on Wild World. But yeah, I feel like having everything in a separate place might be kind of interesting for a change of scenery, for one thing, but also being able to expand how much you can actually feature in updates. But at this point, I don't know what the future of this game is, and as a result, I am basically ready to conclude this playthrough unless something really big happens. Like if there is a big update, which is getting increasingly unlikely, I think, then I will definitely return to this and update this playthrough. But as is, I think I am about ready to move on to other projects. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed showing off everything, even if towards the end of the playthrough I was definitely running out of steam, just because there really isn't a whole lot to talk about at this point. And I hope you enjoyed this playthrough as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time for either more Animal Crossing New Horizons or something different.